And welcome to The Verdict. I'm Kent Myers, and as you will see today, I'm by myself. Mick Cornett is off doing good things for the city and the state, and he'll be gone for a couple of weeks, but he'll be back soon after that to join us again on The Verdict. Thank you for joining today, because this is a special show for us. It's show 828, which isn't significant except for its raw number, but what is significant is that it's our 16th anniversary. It was 16 years ago yesterday that we began our run on The Verdict, and we've been on every week since then, and we know that wouldn't be possible without you watching and letting us know what you think. Today we're going to be doing a show we've styled Report from the Chancellor. We've got Chancellor Glen Johnson, the Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education, to come talk to us about the state of higher education in Oklahoma and what are the challenges and opportunities that our higher education institutions face today. So sit back, relax. We're going to take a short break and be back with Glen Johnson. You're watching The Verdict.
In the early 1800s, Davy Crockett of Middle Tennessee was a neighbor to the Chickasaw Nation. He was a frontiersman who saw the sovereignty of Indian nations as the very foundation of this country, and Crockett took his ideals to Congress. So when President Jackson's Indian Removal Act came up for a vote, Crockett spoke from the heart.
4 counties of my district border on the Chickasaw country. I know many of the Chickasaws, and nothing should ever induce me to vote to drive them west of the Mississippi.
Crockett voted his conscience, effectively ending his political career. Indian removal became law. Davy Crockett left for Texas, and we took our future to Indian Territory. Chickasaw history is American history in the world we share today.
Welcome back. As I indicated in the opening segment, we are very pleased today to welcome back a frequent visitor to The Verdict, Chancellor Glen Johnson, Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education here in Oklahoma. This is Glen's 7th appearance on the show. Glen did his undergraduate work at the University of Oklahoma, where he graduated with honors, including being named Phi Beta Kappa. He did his law work at the University of Oklahoma. He served in the Oklahoma legislature for 14 years, the last 6 years of which he was designated as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. For 10 years, he was president of Southwestern Oklahoma State University down in Durant, and he has been Chancellor of the Regents for 10 years. So he's had quite a string of experience in higher education and knowing what is involved in having a good higher education system. He's here to talk to us today about the state of the higher education system in Oklahoma. Glen, welcome back.
Well, great to be back, Kent, and happy 16th anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. Sweet 16, I guess it is. Well, I can tell you that I talked to Mick Cornett this morning, and he said to be sure and give you his regards and his regrets for not being here. Well, talk to us just a little bit about what's going on in higher education. Maybe we could focus first on your dealing with your budget situation last year.
Okay. Well, last year was a tough year. We experienced a 16% cut, Kent, which came to, for the state system of higher education, a cut of $157 million, which was very significant on the heels of a cut the year before of about $112 million. To put it in some frame of reference, the appropriation to higher education this last year really takes us all the way back to the 2001 levels. So the cut this year was essentially cutting higher education back a full generation. The impact of that has been, frankly, rather devastating and very negative in terms of not only impacting our academic programs but our students as well. We've seen reductions in faculty and staff throughout the system, over 2,000 positions either not filled or in some cases eliminated. Courses that students needed to graduate, some of those have been eliminated, reductions in scholarships, in some instances consolidation of campus sites. And so overall we obviously made the cuts because we had to, but very concerned about the long-term impact of what those cuts will mean on our state system of higher education going forward.
What kind of effect did this cut have on what, this is my phrase, not yours, but on the supplementary programs, the programs of perhaps foreign study or some things that are added to the higher education agenda but not necessarily required?
Well, and each institution, the way our system works, we make the legislature appropriates to the state regents, and then we make the allocation to the institutions. So that's really an institutional decision and a governing board decision in terms of which courses they make the decision to cut. And a lot of times they look at courses, as they should, the ones where there's higher employer demand, higher student demand, may be the ones that have a higher priority. That being said, though, when you're looking at the type of reductions that we had this last year, it impacts the entire system, and I think in some instances every department has been negatively impacted, and again, that's a pretty significant overall cut in the operation of the college or university, and it's one that I think greatly concerns us going forward.
How much flexibility do you have, if any, on tuition increases? Some might say, well, gosh, you charge students for going and they have to pay tuition. If you get less money from the state, why don't you just make it up on tuition?
Well, that's not what we've done. I think we strongly feel that you don't just put all the burden on the backs of students and parents. And actually, we just had a report that came out a few months ago from the U.S. Chamber ranking our higher ed system the 5th most affordable in the country. Another report came out in February from U.S. News and World Report ranking Oklahoma higher education the 6th most affordable in the United States. So we've made an effort to stay affordable, but obviously the hard part to provide a quality educational opportunity at an affordable cost when you continue to sustain those types of dramatic budget cuts, it's hard to do. And I think that's, again, going forward, we're concerned you can't do that year after year. But we've been able, on the tuition and fee front, Kent, to keep our system affordable for students and parents, and certainly place even more of a priority. Even though our budget's been cut, we've placed more of a priority on scholarships and financial aid because we understand how important that is.
Well, yes, because just as your appropriation has been cut, the economy hasn't been all that good for the citizens as well, and I'm sure those scholarships are important.
They're very important.
Well, what impact, if any, or what concern do you have, if any, about retention of quality faculty in years like you had last year?
We have a lot of concern. Obviously, in the system that we're in, faculty, particularly those that are in high demand, when they see repeated budget cuts and when they look ahead and see that the outlook might not even be that promising, a lot of them have options, and I think we've been very fortunate that we've not seen more leave than have left. But as you go forward, and if we continue to see year after year where there's reductions in the budget, I think it's fair to see that some of those faculty in disciplines that where they're very marketable, they're going to look at other states and look at other options. We hope that doesn't happen because our faculty really are the lifeblood of the institutions, and we want to keep them here. I think they have a strong commitment to what our higher education system stands for in Oklahoma. We've got a great set of faculty and a very, very supportive staff throughout our system, and our goal is to turn this corner and to give them the incentives to stay here and to continue to do the great job that they do in providing the opportunities and preparing our students to compete in a quickly changing global economy.
What's the pitch that's made, if you know, to this potential very bright college professor who's looking at coming to Oklahoma, maybe Texas, maybe perhaps on one of the coasts? What do you say to bring him to Oklahoma, particularly in light of this budget situation?
Well, I think we've got a lot of things that are very enviable in our state. We have, of course, from the standpoint of just the campus environment, we have very supportive initiatives that support our faculty. We have, I think, a great quality of life in our state. We provide our faculty with opportunities within the department where they have the opportunity to work, to research, to develop, in some cases to work on their own programs. We've got a you just look at our system from our research level to our regional level to our two-year community college level. We've got opportunities there for faculty to really achieve what they want to achieve and to provide our students with great opportunities. And I think we've got an attractive state. You just look at what's happened, go no further than what's happened here in Oklahoma City in the last 2 decades. This is a place, when you look at other states, with all due respect, and things that are happening there, compare that to what's been happening in our state. I think we've got a great state to sell here.
We only have about a minute left in this segment, but quickly for our viewers, just for information purposes, whom are the regents? What are their names? The regents for higher education.
All right. Well, we've got our chairman this year is Regent John Massey from Durant, Oklahoma, who has been on our board for a number of years, a banker there.
Very nice fellow.
He is. Regent Jay Helm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's in commercial real estate there and does a great job there. Regent Ann Holloway from Ardmore, Oklahoma. She's had experience on the Regional University System Board before that. She's in private business in Ardmore. Regent Andy Lester from Edmond, Oklahoma, an attorney in Edmond, and just came onto our board here last May and is already doing a great job. Regent Ron White, a cardiologist from Oklahoma City, who had been on the University of Oklahoma board and was one of the founders of the Heart Hospital in Oklahoma City. Regent Jimmy Harrell from Leedy, Oklahoma, a banker and rancher in Leedy, Oklahoma. Regent Jody Parker from Tulsa, Oklahoma, the chairman of the board and the president of Anchor Stone Company in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And of course, Regent Mike Turpin. Everybody knows Mike Turpin, an attorney here in Oklahoma City, a former attorney general and someone who's done just a great job for our system. So.
Well, that's a great job. You could rattle those off without any prior notice that I was going to ask that. We're going to need to take a break now. We're visiting with Glen Johnson, the Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education. You're watching The Verdict.
Good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
We're back. We're visiting with Chancellor Glen Johnson, the Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education in Oklahoma. Glen, we talked about the last year budget experience. Talk about what the request is for this year and what, from all we can discern, is going to be another very difficult year.
It is going to be a difficult year, Kent. They've got a shortfall right at $870, $900 million. So you start off with that backdrop.
And an empty rainy day fund, apparently.
Right now, anyway, for
Yeah.
sure. Our request has been totally focused on college degree completion. That's our entire budget request this year because that's so important. That's our top priority, to produce more college graduates in the state. And we've actually done very well. We're ahead of our goal at this point, but with the budget cuts, I think we have concerns going forward. So our request this year is to restore some of the faculty positions that were cut last year, restore the courses where students can graduate on time, certainly funding initiatives like intensive advisement, where we advise our students on what they need to do in order to complete their degree in a timely manner, more emphasis on scholarships and financial aid, debt service to take care of some of our bond issues to keep those on track. So you look at our overall budget request this year, and every dollar is tied directly to college degree completion. Why that's so important, Georgetown came out with a study earlier this year focused on Oklahoma and told us a very important statistic. It said that by 2020, which is only 2 years and 9 months from now, 67% of the jobs in this state are going to require some post-secondary education or an associate's degree. 67%, and 37% of the jobs in Oklahoma will require an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or higher. So that's really on us, and we understand that's on higher education. But to do that, we've got to have funding for the faculty to teach the courses, to provide our students the opportunities to take those courses on time, to graduate in order to apply for these jobs that are coming online in Oklahoma. And with the cuts last year, again, some of the faculty were eliminated, some of the course sections where we just want to make sure we can close that gap and provide those opportunities to students where they can meet the job needs that are coming online. Obviously, those jobs are out there, and if our graduates from Oklahoma aren't ready to meet them, those jobs will go to students from other states, and we don't want to see that happen.
Well, no. You mentioned that you do have a goal for graduation. What is that goal?
Well, in terms of where we want to go, we started off, and Governor Fallon and the state regents kicked off Complete College America, which is the 33 states participate in this effort to increase the number of college degree holders. Our goal, we started off with in 2011 with producing on an average on a year 30,500 degrees, to move that number all the way to 50,912 years. The goal would then be to produce an additional 1,700 degrees and certificates each year. Right now we should be at 6,800. We're at 8,400, so we're ahead of our goal. That's the good news. The news that's not so good, the first year we greatly exceeded the goal, Kent. The second year we doubled the goal. The third year the goal was 1,700 and we hit 1,842. This year we're below the goal. So I think our concern is with the budget reductions, we started off really with a bang, and we want to continue that effort where we meet and exceed our goal. But to do that, you've got to have, again, the faculty, the courses to offer to students. You've got to have the advising, all those degree completion advising initiatives. All of that works together to put us in a position of ringing the bell and exceeding our goal. And it's really critically important, not only to meet the job needs that are here, but all the data tell us that if you compare college degree holders with high school diploma holders, on an average during a career, the individual with a college degree will earn over $1.1 million more in their career lifetime than their counterpart with a high school diploma. And of course, the reasons for earning a college degree are important well beyond the financial reasons. All the data shows that those that earn college degrees are the more engaged citizens. They're the ones that go back and become leaders in their community. They vote with more regularity. Just a number of factors that show a more educated citizenry is exactly where we want to be in our state.
You indicated that the first year you greatly exceeded your goal, and then since then there's been a trend downward some.
Right.
Can you attribute, or has anybody attributed that trend downward to funding?
Well, I think so, because again, as you have to reduce your faculty positions, as you have to cut course sections, a number of these advisement initiatives that we put in place were directly related to degree completion. We haven't eliminated them, but we've had to cut back on them as we've made successive major reductions in the budget. So what that's done is slow the effort down. And what we're saying is, I think I would capsulize it this way. You just look at the number of jobs that are going to be available in this state in less than 3 years. We're really the entity that can provide the graduates to meet those job needs. But to do that, we have to have the funding to provide the course sections, to give our students the opportunity to graduate on time and to apply for those jobs. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. And to do that, we need appropriate funding in order to do our job.
Have you seen any dramatic change one way or the other in student retention?
Yes, we have, and it's a good story. As we've moved towards the Complete College America Degree Completion Initiative, our funding formula now is based more on not only enrollment, bringing students to the campus, but retaining those students and ultimately improving their graduation rates. And so we have an incentive-based formula that provides funding based on those factors. And of course, again, when you're in a budget cut scenario, you're not going to be activating that to the extent that you would be if you had additional dollars that were being placed into the higher education funding mechanism. But still, our institutions are improving their retention rates and graduation rates, and we're on the right track. And certainly, our plan with Complete College America is to continue on that track, and ultimately, again, we see the outcome that's the final outcome is keeping our graduates in this state, and more importantly, making sure that they have jobs in the state of Oklahoma. A statistic from our Employment Security Commission, which came out last September, tells us that 84% of our graduates from Oklahoma colleges and universities stay in the state and have jobs in Oklahoma 1 year out after graduation. And that's certainly a good number, and it's very different. Looking back to the mid-'80s after the oil decline, there was a great concern about graduates having to leave our state to gain employment in other states. And again, I think we're in the process of reversing that. The fact that nearly 9 out of 10 graduates stay in the state and have a job in Oklahoma 1 year out is it's certainly a good number, and we want to continue that number and improve on it.
Well, that is an astounding number. Talk about the measures or guidelines that the regents look at to judge how our higher education institutions are doing.
Well, I think degree completion, Ken, is probably the major metric that we look to there, not only producing degrees, but looking at our institutions' retention rates and graduation rates, which ultimately the end product is whether or not they're increasing the number of graduates that are graduating from our college universities, which we are. But that's a major metric that we look to. Another is affordability, and this U.S. Chamber of Commerce study doesn't just look at tuition and fees, but housing, books, all the related costs. And again, we've ranked 5th in that study each of the last 3 years now. And that's a good sign. The U.S. News and World Report ranking us 6th in affordability, another great metric. Student debt is a major issue throughout the nation, and certainly in Oklahoma. And the good news is we have a much better story to tell in Oklahoma than they do nationally. A report came out in November from the National Center on Student Debt. 3 things that were very important takeaways. First, 48% of our students leave our colleges and universities with 0 student debt. Those that have debt, 23% below the national average in terms of debt, and all of that's resulted in ranking Oklahoma higher education 10th in the country in terms of our students leaving our colleges with the least amount of student debt. So, good place to be.
That good report has to be our last word. Thank you, Glenn, for coming. We're out of time on this segment. We've been visiting with Chancellor Glen Johnson, the Chancellor for the Regents for Higher Education. I'll be back in just a minute.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here, drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to, because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
I really think people are so unaware of the number of kids waiting just in Oklahoma. And I think if more people knew that those children were out there waiting, I think that just by the way we live our lives and the people we talk to, that maybe we can help encourage adoption from Oklahoma.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back. We're really grateful to Chancellor Glen Johnson for joining us today and talking about higher education. A couple of websites to give to you. His website is www.okhighered.org. That will get you to Chancellor Johnson. Ours, of course, is theverdict.tv. And I want to finish the show. Mick and I want to tell you that we've enjoyed the 16 years, but one big part of it has been the appearance of Mike McCarville. He passed away recently. He was on the show 22 times. We love and respect Mike McCarville. We certainly wish the best to his family. Come back next week and we'll have another good show for you.